Oh, we're live. Oh, well, I just said waste your time with me as we went live, but oh well, who gives a fuck, really?
The absolute irony.
Who really cares? I don't, not me. um, you know the deal. We'll talk for a bit while if people come in and stuff like that. So we'll talk about stuff. How is it's so weird to me, Mags, this whole time thing, by the way. It's taken my brain through a loop. So I changed time like 3 weeks ago. You
Yep.
changed time
Last night.
last night, and then America is next week.
Yep.
What the fuck? It's just
And I think
confusing.
all clocks are. Did yours go back? Did your clocks go back, or did they come forward?
No, I went forward because I'm in daylight savings now.
All right. So now we basically get closer by 2 hours.
Didn't you go back?
Yeah, our clock. So if our clocks went back and yours went forward, that brings us 2 hours closer together.
Does it? Oh, it confuses me.
I don't see the point of daylight savings time now. To be honest, it was literally just brought in for farmers so they could utilize as much daylight as possible. But now with like the modern farming methods, it is kind of redundant.
Some areas of Australia don't go by it. Some areas of Australia don't have daylight savings.
Yeah, it's mad. It just seems to be more now traditional than anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Just times confuse me, and I'm just like, oh, it just changed. All it does, the only reason I know what time it is everywhere is because wrestling, and I'm like, okay, so this means that this starts at this time now, and like stuff like that. So, you know, it's all bizarre. How is everything, Mags? What was the last show we did? Clash of Champions? Yep. Was it?
Yeah, it's good.
No, it wasn't.
Then,
wasn't there another show in between? No, there wasn't.
Oh, we did Takeover, did we not?
Oh, we did Takeover. Hey, look, Queen's here. Queen's in the chat. The lovely Queen.
She turns up to a podcast, does she? Oh dear.
We're throwing shots at Queen.
I hope you're feeling better, Queen.
That is not a good thing to do, Mags. You don't throw shots at Queen. She might end you. You never know.
To be fair, I think she'll be secretly glad she was ill and didn't turn up to the recording because Paul Toller at Rain Counter did something disgusting. He vetoed Stone Cold Steve Austin off of Mount Rushmore.
What? How? There's. You know what? I don't want to get angry.
Listen.
Oh, yeah, plug your show. Go on. Get on my Twitch and plug your shit. What the fuck?
It's not like anybody else shows up.
oh my God, Queen's here, so it doesn't matter. Queen's here. Queen obviously is here to see me, and not Mags because, you know, whatever. Well, I was trying to be nice then, Mags, and ask you how your day was, and then
my day is going really. Anytime I get to speak to you, speak down to you, especially, is a good day.
You know what? Honestly, it's like sometimes I really, in my own brain, I'm like, oh, you know, it should be fine having Mags on my show, and then I'm like, I don't know if that's really the best of ideas. It goes back.
If I were any different, I don't think I'd be on the show as much.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be boring.
You'd be boring. Yeah, exactly. Well, hey. I've actually got some.
Guys, Roman. Let's go bowling.
Last talking, I've added another member. Well, not me. I've not added the member to my family, but we've got another member out of our family. A third granddaughter called River.
Woo! Yep. Thank you for the raid. Hey, and a sub, Connor.
Poggers SSSSSSSS.
Thank you for the raid and the sub. That's much appreciated. Sorry to interrupt you, Mags, but, you know, subs, so you know. Anyway, What was your story?
Get that money.
Yeah, Twitch money. Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank you, Connor. Hey, Reese.
I've now got 3 grandchildren, all girls, all under 18 months, and all absolutely tormenting.
Well, you know, put you through the ringer, Mags. Can old man Mags really take that? You know what I mean? I'm like,
No.
I don't know.
Short answer, no.
We're going to talk about Hell in a Cell in the next few minutes after I get my bearings together, because we're going to stretch this out to an hour. There is only, at the time right now, whatever time it is, wherever you are, there's only 5 matches announced. That was very Australian, wasn't it? Holy crap. That was I just heard my own accent. Ooh. Oh, sometimes I do that and I don't know why. And I'm like, oh God, that sounded very Australian. But yeah, there's only 5 matches announced. So we're going to try and stretch this out for an hour or so. But, you know, it is what it is. We were talking before about how Bound for Glory was on. We had UFC, which Mags is into. I don't know really anything about UFC because I'm stupid. But, well, I'm not stupid, I guess. Well, I am, but not, you know what I mean. I'm really digging my own ditch here, aren't I?
It was actually a good day for Australian MMA because Robert Whittaker absolutely demolished his opponent, Jared Cannonier, and he's looking to be getting another title shot for the middleweight title soon.
Yeah, I know what that means. I definitely know what that means. I know who that guy is. I think you said his name was Robert.
Robert Whittaker, yeah. He sold out what's the big stadium in Australia called? 70,000 seats.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't know what it's called.
There is more than one. There's the one. Is it in Melbourne? Is it in Brisbane? Is it in Sydney? Is it in Adelaide?
Could be. Any of them. One of them.
Maybe
anyway,
the MCG.
He sold it out.
I don't know.
It could be that, the McG.
The McG. Is that what you just called it? The McG. It's the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. What the fuck, Mags?
Oh, like the McDonald's ground. McGround.
Do you like McDonald's? What a weird question to go in. We are going to talk about wrestling.
No, not particular. I don't like the beef from McDonald's. It's too ground up.
Yeah, I don't know what it could be anything, really. Who really knows what's in McDonald's?
The armadillo.
Who really knows? We don't. We're not here to. If you want to eat McDonald's, do you? I eat it sometimes. It's fine. I like their chicken nuggets. That's about it, really. Anyway, what are we talking about? Wrestling. Wrestling's on in 8 hours time, 9 hours time, something like that. Hell in a Cell. 5 matches. 5 matches are happening at time. There'll probably be more added, or they'll add some. Who really knows? Maybe they'll have a short show. We really don't know. WWE are very what's the word? Crazy? Unpredictable.
Shit.
No, well, they're not shit. They can be shit.
No, I mean we were talking just before we started recording, and I think we both agreed that sometimes it's good when you only get these low amount of matches signed, because it gives the matches time to breathe. I mean, you could easily go half an hour with Reigns versus Uso, half an hour with Orton versus Drew, and an hour even with Bayley and Sasha. So there's plenty of time to let these matches kind of tick over and breathe. Where when you have 8 to 10 matches on a card, sometimes they don't get the time that they could do with getting.
Yeah, I agree. I like shorter cards, and I don't mind if this show only ran for 2.5 hours. It would not bother me in the slightest. It would feel kind of nice. So we're gonna get into these matches. Let's start off with a Cell match, which we always start with the lower tier matches, but let's just kind of insert them in throughout this. But let's start with Drew and Randy, just because we've talked about this so many times. This feud has been going for quite a while. Queen, you're about to get your wish, because we're going to talk about the 5 matches that are happening in this show. So, hello everyone in the chat, by the way. We'll chat with you throughout the show, I should say. But Drew and Randy, it is interesting for me. I'll just speak for myself. I know it's kind of the majority on Twitter here or on the internet, but it's interesting to go into this one as opposed to going into their match at Clash of Champions, their ambulance match that Drew won, their match at SummerSlam that Drew won. We're going into their third encounter, and really, to me at least, I think in I guess a kayfabe way here, more so than a maybe logic way, but in a kayfabe, for a kayfabe reason, Randy really has no claim to be having a third go at going for the WWE Championship. He didn't earn this right in any way other than beat up a few legends. I don't know. I'm not disappointed. I'm sure it'll be fine, and who knows where it will really lead, but how do you feel going into this going, this is the third match between these two, and Drew's kind of won, I don't want to say easily, because it definitely wasn't easy, but like, Randy really, I don't know, there's just no claim for him to really be in this. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I understand your take on it, but I think anyone who cosplays as Splinter Cell with those night vision goggles deserves a title shot.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the last match, the ambulance match, Drew did need the help of a lot of people to get over the line. So you can kind of understand Orton wanting to have one last chance, one-on-one to kind of put this to bed. And to be fair, who else is there? Who else is waiting in the wings to challenge Drew? Nobody's really been built up to that yet. So it makes sense. I mean, we're getting 3 matches. Someone's going to come out of this basically with a rubber stamp that they're the winner of the feud. And for the third time running, I'm going to go with Randy. Surely you can't have 3 different attempts at winning the title in a row and lose all 3. You just can't. I think Drew has done an amazing job as champion in this era, and we say every month that he deserves a crowd. But how many times can Randy put him over without actually getting a win? So I'm going with Randy in this one.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. It's like it's I don't know. The only reason I'm like hesitant at saying this is because Randy is in a weird spot where Randy to me can lose and still be really credible, as in the sense of like, if he was to say, let's just play devil's advocate just for the sake of it here, if Randy was to lose at Hell in a Cell against Drew, you could put him in a title match in 2 months' time, and would that really seem odd? Would it seem out of place? Probably not.
Normally not, but when you've lost 3 in a row, I think even the most bulletproof wrestler would then need a break out of the main event picture, and I think that would be the same for Randy. I think, and if there is no feud on the back burner for either of these two to jump into, a win for Randy actually can keep this feud going, because this will be Drew's chance to say, you got multiple shots at my title, I deserve at least a rematch. So it could be a case of stretching this out to perhaps the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, is that something you'd be interested in?
Do you know, I actually would. I know a lot of people on Twitter are kind of getting a little bit bored of this feud, but I think this is one of those Randy Orton feuds where he's really invested. So he's putting on great performances, and anytime you see Randy Orton really into a feud, he makes the feud way better than it should be on paper, and you kind of don't feel that it's being dragged out. So yeah, I'm happy for this to continue if Randy wins. If Randy loses, we need something set up for Drew to move on to, because I don't want to see a 4th Randy loss.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're going into the next pay-per-view, which is Survivor Series, which I'm assuming will be brand on brand, but I mean, sometimes they don't do that. Sometimes they still have title matches and have brand on brand stuff. It's like toss the coin and they'll land on one for this year. So we really don't know what is kind of set up for the next pay-per-view. So to me, I'm the same as you, Mags. Randy is kind of in this situation where I'm like, I have watched this much of this feud and I've enjoyed this feud. But I think to progress it or to end it really is Randy win. And I don't think I don't think it hurts Drew at all. He's had a great title reign. There's been no complaints, at least from on my end, with anything that Drew's done in this title reign, especially in this time. He's been a champion with no fans. Then we had the PC era. Now we're in the Thunderdome kind of era, I guess you could call it. And Drew's done a great job, and he's had a great feud with Randy. I really have no complaints about it. But I'm with you. I think Randy's got to win this one. I mean, there's no point in having it go 3 matches with Randy taking 2 losses. And don't forget, Randy also took a loss to Keith Lee in this build at Payback. So I think it's Randy's turn. I know that sounds kind of like a little like weird, but I think it's just Randy's turn to have the championship for a while, and then wherever we go with Randy, whether it is to continue with Drew, maybe eventually with Edge when he's ready to get back, who really knows? But I think there's more to do with Randy as champion than Drew as champion, at least for now.
And you've also got to remember back to when Randy took out Ric Flair, that Ric Flair said he wanted Randy to be the person that broke his title record and not John Cena. So I think that was kind of a subtle hint to where WWE are looking for Randy Orton to go in the kind of like twilight of his career.
Yeah. I agree completely. So chat, Queen started us off, but if you have a pick for Randy and Drew, let us know in the chat now, and we'll kind of see what you think, because we're both going with Randy. Let's move on here to Jeff Hardy and Elias. This started a few weeks ago when Elias came back after kayfabe wise was involved in that hit and run that happened, that Jeff was, I think he was proven to be innocent, wasn't he? Because it was someone with red hair and a red beard. But Elias come back, hit Hardy with a guitar, and then had a concert, and Jeff hit him with a guitar. Now, I don't know about you, Mags. Well, I do. You would have not watched this, but I watched Jeff Hardy on Raw Talk last week, because apparently I have nothing better to do, and I watch Raw Talk. So, there's that. But that's, a question for that's a different topic for a different day of why I'm wasting my time.
Is Raw Talk the one with R-Truth?
It's the one with Chartruth, with Charlie Caruso and R-Truth. Yes, it is.
Then you have not wasted your time, because R-Truth is an absolute god.
That's true. He is just on that show just to break people. I swear to God, that's why Jeff Hardy was losing his, he couldn't get out sentences because he was laughing that much. But,
it's brilliant. The way he broke Shayna Baszler and then
so
broke AJ Styles is absolutely unreal.
He broke AJ too. It's so good to see him just break everybody. But Jeff Hardy said that he enjoys Elias's music, which is fine.
What?
I think he
anybody?
He said he wants to jam with him. He wants to bring his band and jam with him, but he also wants to beat him at Hell in a Cell. So I don't know. I guess Elias still thinks that Jeff Hardy hit him with a car because he's a quote-unquote drunk. I don't know. But that's the reason this match is happening. There's not really a lot going into this. I think it's just kind of, it's on the card to fill a gap, maybe. And just to get Elias back in kind of the swing of things. And it's Jeff Hardy. No one's really going to complain when Jeff Hardy's around. Well, at least I won't. We both said we have no problem with Jeff Hardy. Multiple times.
Great.
Yeah, great. And I don't dislike Elias. He's fine. He's just kind of one of those people that are just kind of like, I know this sounds horrible, but he is just a meh. I don't care if he's there, but I also don't care if he's not there. You know what I mean?
For me, he falls straight into that kind of Braun Strowman category where WWE missed their chance to make him a huge wrestling star, and now he's a gimmick. He's just a musical gimmick. He's good in the ring. He's really, really talented, but they didn't capitalize on it when they should have. They should have strapped a title to him, pushed him to the moon. But now he's forever going to be in these kind of nothing feuds.
Queen's in the chat just yelling. He wears jeggings. It's true, he does. Obviously, Queen isn't a fan of that fashion. Yeah, well, I mean, a scarf is... I don't mind a good scarf, but jeggings, I don't know so much
Yeah.
either, but clearly Queen's not a fan of that fashion choice. So, I mean, on that note alone, though, there's not really too much more to say on this match other than who we think is going to win. And I guess if I'm a betting man, I would say Elias just because he's like fresh off a return. I guess why would you have Elias lose? There's
Yeah.
really, but then there's I guess there's an argument for like why would you have Elias win? So
Yeah, exactly. Where's the push going to lead him?
yeah,
This to me feels like they've just revisited this story just to bring Elias back. This story was done and dusted. I mean, I know we didn't get like a definitive answer to who run Elias over, but we also
don't care.
know it wasn't Jeff because Jeff hasn't got ginger hair and a big ginger beard.
Yeah.
So why is he attacking Jeff? It's almost like Vince has gone, yeah, we're having Jeff versus Elias on the card. How can we make it work? Oh, yeah, let's pretend that this story never happened with Sheamus. Yeah, it's weird, but it should be a good match.
Yeah.
I've got Elias winning just because he's the one coming back and Jeff doesn't really need the victory, and I can't see it really changing the status of either of them in terms of like going for titles or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just seems to be a way to quickly put this kind of open-ended story to bed and both move on.
Yeah. Here's another question: is a win over Jeff Hardy a big deal?
Now, I mean, it's a notch on your post, I suppose, but it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Now, if he was still Intercontinental Champion, or if he was in line for a world title shot, perhaps. But right now, no.
Yeah,
I don't think it does.
Is Jeff in that weird category though, where if next week on Raw we were determining a number one contender to the WWE Championship and he just randomly won, would that also be not out of place? I don't know.
You're exactly right.
Jeff's in that weird spot.
Yeah, there's a handful of wrestlers who can be well out of the title picture, and one match puts them straight back in, and it would be totally legitimate. Jeff's one, AJ's one, Daniel Bryan's one. He's definitely got that kind of it factor where you would instantly think he's a credible challenger, but right now he's just deep in the mid card.
Yeah. It's weird. Queen's everywhere this morning. She's like, Jeff Hardy retains. And then she's like, he doesn't even have a belt. F's in the chat for Queen, everybody, because holy shit, we love Queen, but obviously she's just everywhere. Her morning, I guess. She's probably just woken up and she's like, fuck. F's in the chat for Queen, everyone. But it is, yeah, I don't have any more to add to that. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, so have I. Just because, but honestly, it could go either way. I'd probably prefer Jeff to win, to be completely fair, because I like Jeff Hardy, but whatever. It really doesn't mean anything in the long term effect here. So, let's talk about Otis and The Miz. So, Law and Otis happened on SmackDown. I watched it. Mags obviously didn't because he doesn't watch every week. But he's seen bits. I'm
so glad I don't watch. It's things like this that make me glad I don't watch WWE.
I love shit like this. I love shit like this. This is what I live for in wrestling because here's something. I'm going to talk about AEW, guys. Oh, here we go. Everyone's going to get on me. Here we go. I don't watch AEW on a weekly basis. I don't really pay much attention to it. But do you think I watched that singing thing that Jericho and...
Yes, you did.
Oh my god, that gave me you know what. So that's what I live for in wrestling. My favorite part of wrestling is that dumb shit. Both of these segments are in the same kind of area of grey for me. They're not the same thing, but they're both in that kind of silly... What is this kind of... I can't really explain this. If anyone asked me what was going on, I'd be like, I really honestly don't know, but it's wrestling. And that's what I live for in wrestling. That's my favorite shit. So I watched this Law and Otis segment. It had all different cameos from Teddy Long, JBL was the judge, Ron Simmons was there, Asuka was there for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm not going to complain. It's Asuka. She's great. Also, I brought up Asuka. What the fuck? Why isn't she on this show?
Yeah.
Imagine if she was the Raw Women's Champion. Who knows?
I know.
Why wouldn't you have... I know this is not going to be that popular, but why wouldn't you have Lana and her wrestle at this show instead of this past week on Raw? I really don't know. Just to kind of put it on the card and be like, here's the Raw Women's Champion. You could have exactly the same segment. But whatever.
Josh, you know full well we're probably getting that match, just not announced until halfway through the pre-show.
Yeah, Lana will be on the pre-show and she'll be like, I'm challenging Asuka and I deserve another shot. It's like, you tapped out, but sure, whatever. And then she'll go through another table and everyone will be fine. But yes, anyway, this segment happened. They've been going back and forth for a while now, Miz and Morrison and Heavy Machinery, and then they finally went to court over... I honestly don't know what it was over. I think it was just because... it was public humiliation or something, because Otis took off all of Miz's clothes and had run around in his underwear, which he wrestles in every week, but I guess it's different because he was in a suit before it. I don't really understand it, but that's what he went for, public humiliation. And then he bribed JBL, who was the judge, with a bunch of money, and now they're having a match, and the winner is Mr. Money in the Bank. Okay, now that I pretty much explained what that segment was, I don't care what anyone says to me. I don't want Otis to win. I never wanted Otis to win the Money in the Bank in the first place. He's fine and he's funny and I think he is entertaining, but is he world championship? No, to me, that's not that. It's entertainment, but it's not, that can't be seriously a thing. And I don't want to waste the Money in the Bank cash-in. I don't like when cash-ins fail. I think it's a waste of time. I just don't, why do it? Miz, whatever. I mean, there's better options, but Miz is fine. And he's more credible than Otis. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people like Otis, and I don't dislike Otis, but I don't know. I don't want to waste that briefcase on Otis. Sorry, Otis, if you're watching.
Yeah, because he will be. I understand that point. I know that a lot of people backstage in WWE don't want Otis to have the Money in the Bank because of exactly the same reason you said. It kind of takes away the credibility. It just seems to me a booking on the fly with WWE that Otis was popular. Vince obviously loves to kind of ridicule a fat guy. It's one of the things that it's true though. He really does. It does kind of get off on ridiculing people for being overweight. So that's why he's so high on Otis. But the rumours backstage are that there's only Vince who's really fighting Otis's corner. But I still think he's going to come out of this winning. And the reason why is giving it to the Miz doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get a successful cash-in. With Otis, there's no way you see him going up against Roman and winning the title, or there's no way you see him cashing in on Randy or Drew and winning the title. And the same for me for the Miz. You don't see the Miz going and beating Roman, or you don't see him going and beating Drew McIntyre. So I think it makes sense to keep the comedy part of it going and keep the briefcase with Otis and maybe push him to win a lower level title, maybe go against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. I don't see a reason to switch it because the outcome is still going to be the same, that whoever goes for the world title is not going to win it.
Could you, I mean, okay, this isn't going to happen, but let's try and formulate something here. Say Miz was to win. Could that cause tension between Miz and Morrison? And then maybe Morrison wins it from Miz?
It possibly could, or it could be it could lead to a three-way where Otis versus the Miz versus Morrison, and Otis kind of shenanigans his way to winning his briefcase back. There are kind of different scenarios you can see. Because I believe it was Morrison's name wasn't on the lawsuit, so he technically can't challenge. But yeah, right. it's using the Money in the Bank briefcase as a comedy skit, which it kind of devalues it for me. But I still can't see any reason really to take it off Otis. He's still really popular in the fans' eyes. He's still popular with Vince. Miz doesn't really need it to become relevant and to be to push higher up the card. So yeah, I'd keep it on Otis and maybe get him to challenge for one of those mid-level titles.
Well, we're finally gonna pick different because I'm gonna go Miz just because I really want it to happen, and I'm a believer in if you put out something into the world enough, maybe it will happen. So Miz.
Is that why we keep saying that Randy's going to win the title? Because eventually
we have to be right. Eventually we have to be right. But yeah, I'll go Miz. You can have Otis. I'll happily take Miz on this one. But I don't know. I don't really have any. Not that I don't have interest in it because it's been funny, but I guess it's comedy stuff for me. Shouldn't be with something so. I guess the Money in the Bank could be looked at as maybe game changing in the sense of like you cash that thing in and it changes the storyline instantly because you're in the world title storyline. I just don't know if this should be something that's, I don't know, laughed upon.
And it can be a career builder because you can have people who would have never ordinarily got into the world title scene suddenly be vying for a world title. So yeah, I don't like the fact it's been devalued. I think, to be fair, it's overplayed anyway. I think we could do with a break away from having Money in the Banks and maybe leave it on the shelf for a few years.
Oh, there you go. There's something.
Clearly don't agree.
No, not at all. But you're allowed to have your own opinions.
Your own wrong opinion.
You're allowed to do what you want. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. You're wrong, but that's fine. That's what an opinion is about. All right, we got the two big Hell in a Cell matches, I guess, to talk about. Let's start with Sasha and Bayley. We are getting this match. It's happening. You wanted it to go to WrestleMania. A lot of us wanted to go to WrestleMania. I did. I thought they could have stretched it out. It's not to say that it can't, but we are getting a Hell in a Cell match between these two. The build for this has been long, very long. We've been waiting for this match, it seems like, for years at this point, to finally see Sasha and Bayley in a big-time, pay-per-view match. This is their first one-on-one pay-per-view match since TakeOver. Respect their 30-minute Iron Woman match back in NXT. So it's been a minute since they have had a big field. They had a couple of singles matches on Raw just over time that weren't really important in the grand scheme of things. No. But they finally do it. They're at each other. We've got Bayley as a heel. We've got Sasha as a face. They finally signed Bayley finally signed the contract on SmackDown yesterday. Or day before, whenever the fuck it was. And we're finally getting it. And regardless of anything, Mags, I know we wanted a longer build. There's no doubt that this match is going to be really good because, well, here's the thing. The expectation is very high. We've seen what they can do. We know what they're capable of. I am fairly certain. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything. And if this isn't the case, you can come at me for it. It's my fault. I think they're going to get a lot of time to really be able to tell their story. And I think this, in my opinion, will be like, Drew and Randy will be like the physical kind of beat up each other, kind of, use the cell kind of deal. We'll talk about Reigns and Uso, but I think that'll be very more storytelling based. I think this is going to be the good wrestling match that happens to be in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. It adds to it. It makes it a little different to what they've done with their other stuff. But it's finally happening. And it's pretty much guaranteed that it'll be good. It's just going to be how good is this thing going to be, and where can we really go from here with this? Let's talk about the build before we talk about any predictions, because I'm sure we'll spend a little bit of time with this. So let's take us back to Bayley turning on Sasha, what feels like a lifetime ago now. It really does feel like a while ago, but it was only 4 or 5, 6 weeks ago when you really think about it. They lost their rematch for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Bayley snapped and what had the chair and the head gimmick and stomped down, and Sasha was like, my neck, it's broken, but I'm fine, it's fine. And then Bailey's been really on a roll with some really like great heel promos. She now has she's the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion in history, I think now. Maybe even the longest women's champion of the modern era, apart from Asuka in NXT. She's had quite the year. PWI #1 female of the year, which is, to me, there was no real other way to go. Bailey's been the most consistently good female superstar, really, regardless of gender. There hasn't really been too many as consistent as Bailey in the past 365 days. She's had a really great year. She's doing some really great work. Really just kind of crazy when you think about it. 5 years ago when we had TakeOver to where Bailey is now, where Bailey was then, it's night and day different. But these last few weeks, we'll talk about Sasha in a minute, but I just want to get your thoughts on all of that with Bailey being #1, being this longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion, her promos and everything like that. How do you feel about Bailey's work in this build?
Well, you have waxed lyrical about how much I disliked the face turn. I thought that I could never get to grips with Bailey being a heel. She was the hugger. She was the laugh and soul of the women's wrestling. She was so positive, and then she had the Karen haircut. She felt like she was trying too hard to be a heel. It felt forced. But over the last 6 to 9 months, she's really grown into the character. The really and I think adding Sasha, when Sasha came back and revealed that she was on Bailey's side and the golden role models, I think that really helped elevate Bailey as like a cocky, smarmy heel. And her character work has been absolutely outstanding. The match work it's never been an issue with Bailey. She's always been one of the better of the 4 horsewomen in terms of wrestling. And I think this storyline, if any other storyline would have gone this long, we would have been absolutely bored to tears of it. But a lot of people still are clamoring for this to carry on because it's been so engrossing as a story between the two women. It's been amazing, and I think props to both ladies for being able to carry this storyline on and keep it fresh, but keep everybody interested as well,
and keep it like I want to say. I want to say it's like the build has been obviously slow, but slow and steady wins the race, in my opinion. I love a nice, interesting, like with so many layers and so many twists and turns in the story. Every time you think Sasha was going to turn or Bailey was going to turn, and then before you know it, it's 6, 8, 9 months later, and we finally get the turn. And it's everything that we kind of expected, and it was brutal, and it was physical, and it just everything just felt right with that. And Sasha then coming back, and this back and forth with the contract being signed, and everything like that. I just think I understand. I understand that we wanted this a little later. I get it, but when you think about it, it's inside Hell in a Cell. It's potentially, it may not be, it could be the main event of this show. It feels big. It feels like it's going to get a pretty big spotlight. It feels good. I'm just very excited for it. I'm glad it's finally happening. Everyone knows, and a lot of people's favorite match, and it's my favorite match, is their TakeOver Brooklyn match. I don't think they'll ever exceed that, but this is a good chance to do that. Like it's just going to be a very good wrestling match. Let's talk about Sasha now that we've talked about Bailey. Sasha, to me, I've always been one. I think everyone's kind of on the, like, Sasha is a better heel than a face. But when Sasha's in a role where she's got a great heel to go against, Sasha's an incredible face. And Sasha honestly hasn't changed much about her character. which I like. I like when faces and heels are like the same character, but it's just the fans are either cheering them or booing them. I kind of like that. You don't turning face doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. Like, no, Sasha's like, I don't give a shit. I just want to beat Bailey. So therefore you're going to cheer me for that. So, Sasha's done some great work as well. I go a little bit back and forth on Sasha's promos. I don't know if that's unpopular, but some days I love them and some days I'm like, it's not quite there. I don't know. How do you feel about Sasha in this build though, in respects with how we talked about Bailey?
Yeah, for me, I've always thought that Sasha's the most technically gifted of the four horsewomen. Yeah, she's had a few issues with botchers and accidental injuries of people, but I think in ring her work is the best out of the four. In terms of this storyline, I think the way she has kind of complemented Bailey's character arc has been absolutely superb. For me, I've always seen Sasha as kind of like the Randy Orton of the women's division, where she can float between heel and face so effortlessly. And you said it pretty much perfectly, that she doesn't have to change a lot about her character. It's only like little nuances, and she's suddenly the biggest face, or a slight change in direction, and suddenly she's the most hated heel on the female roster. She's got that kind of a great character work that you can really believe in the kind of direction she's going in. But with her and Bailey together, it's a match made in heaven. They both, you can tell that these two girls have been the best of friends for such a long time. They really vibe off each other well. The chemistry is there. You believe the story. You believe that these two hate each other with a vengeance because of what's gone on. But then you can also believe that 2 months down the line they'll be best friends again, because they kind of like, I hate you, but if anyone else gets involved, I'll defend you to the death. It's the typical female friendship relationship where they're best friends and worst enemies.
It's interesting that you kind of bring up like we went off how Sasha doesn't really have to change too much about it. What I think Sasha does really well is that it's almost, you don't notice that the little tiny character changes are happening. It's just kind of it just flows so well. That's where Sasha's excelling in. And I think that's where she there's a noticeable difference between Bailey and with her face and heel. But Sasha's like,
yeah, I mean,
ooh, like if you go either way.
Yeah, if you compare the two, Sasha's face turn was so subtle that it happened in front of your eyes and we didn't even realize it, where Bailey had to make a massive change in character. She had to switch 180 and even do things like that, cutting all the hair off and dyeing it black. She had to make a huge character change, where Sasha didn't, because we always know that Sasha can switch it on and be the heel or the face at will almost, and it's a really good dichotomy between the two.
Yeah, definitely. Sasha's almost, I guess, in a modern day tweener, where we really don't have a lot of tweeners, that there's only a select few that really don't have to change too much. It's just kind of who they're kind of fighting against, and you can kind of insert them at any kind of, spot needed. And I like that that's one of the best things I like about Banks, is that she's that. And on the contrary, it's why I like Bailey so much, is that she's so different. So I don't know I guess I'm a wrestling fan, so I don't know what I want, and I'll just whinge. But
fickle.
Very fickle. It's like, I like that, but I also like this, but I both want them to be great, and that's what we're getting with these two. Me. Thank you, Alex, so much for the follow, much appreciated. It's going to be good though. We're going to get a good match. Now, I guess we're here for predictions. So, is it a case of Sasha has to win this match, or can Bailey win this match to progress this? Does this progress either way? We really don't know. Mags, I'll go to you first. Let you kind of say your predictions. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, so normally a Hell in a Cell is kind of a blow off. It's usually the end of a feud, but I can see pathways where this continues, no matter who walks out of the match as champion, because in just over 2 months we've got the Royal Rumble coming up, so we could easily revisit this with the loser of this match winning the Rumble and challenging again. So we can kind of have like a couple of months breather where we may get someone else inserted into the title picture, and then revisit this on the road to WrestleMania and get that WrestleMania match that we all want. Saying that, over the last 3 years, since 2017, the SmackDown's Women's title has changed hands at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I think in 2017, Charlotte beat Natty, then Becky beat Charlotte, and then last year Charlotte beat Bayley. And then going actually into a Hell in a Cell match, Bayley has never had a Hell in a Cell match, where Sasha Banks was in the first Hell in a Cell match against Charlotte. So she does have that kind of experience.
And the second, she was in last year's. Against Becky.
So there is that kind of experience factor. Will that play into the result? I think Sasha needs the win to kind of like prop up that abysmal pay-per-view record that she's got in title matches. And I think her winning the title, Bayley perhaps going away for a little while, then coming and totally flipping on the predictions that we've been making for so many months of Sasha winning the Rumble and then challenging Bayley. I think we're going to see a total flip of the script, and it would actually be Bayley winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Sasha at WrestleMania. So, yeah, I've got Sasha coming out of this, winning the title and hopefully having a decent run with the belt, because she doesn't like to keep hold of titles very long.
No, she's not great at defending those things, is she? We're talking complete kayfabe wise here, but she isn't the best of defenders of championships. Can't say she's a big fan of that, but you make a very compelling argument. I've gone back and forth these last few days of, is Sasha going to win this? Is Bayley going to win this? And I guess like the obvious choice would be Sasha winning this and winning the championship, and she's finally dethroned Bayley. But then sometimes I know in a WWE mind, that's when they go, well, we're not going to do that because we're in control. You don't know what's happening kind of deal. And it's like, maybe Bayley will win. The thing with a Hell in a Cell is that while you can still have a cheap win, it's very limited in the amount of real cheap ways you can kind of win this, because it is no DQ, you're inside a cell. Unless it's, which we don't want, like last year, we don't want some kind of a no contest. We want to define winner inside of a Hell in a Cell. And I think anything less than like a clear winner, whoever it is kind of doing a disservice to this story. And again, Mags, like I said, Survivor Series is next, so it's not like we're necessarily we might get them at Survivor Series, we might not. We don't really know what's going to happen. I like the idea of Bayley winning the Rumble and then challenging Sasha, but here's the thing that kind of has thrown a spiral into my head with things, is that somebody else, I think, will be challenging for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be Bianca Belair. Because I think they have a lot of eggs in that basket with her. If you listen to the way they talk about her on SmackDown, the way she kind of was in that match with Zelina, and I don't think they're going to necessarily rush her into anything in the next month or two, but I think from now until Mania is an optimal amount of time to get her to the Royal Rumble, to get her to win the Royal Rumble, and to get her to challenge whoever she's going to challenge, whether it is the SmackDown or she could go for the Raw. But I think Bianca's going to be in the mix. So I think Bianca plays a big part in WrestleMania next year. That's just my opinion. But for the sake of things, and I'll probably change from now until when Hell in a Cell is on, in 9 hours time. I'm going Bayley.
Okay.
And the only reasoning is that I think we're going to get this story go through at least until TLC. Where maybe they'll have a ladder match, maybe they'll have some kind of a tables, ladders, and chairs match. I don't know. They'll do something else. But I don't know. There's just, to me, there's something that says it's always better. I know there's other ways to go, and we've said this many times. It's always better when the heel is the champ and the face kind of chases the heel as opposed to the heel chasing the face. I know there's multiple times where that's proven the other way, but I just think this is going to continue, and I think Bayley's going to somehow win this match. I mean, it's very easily could go the other way, and I know I'm probably in the minority of thinking Bayley will win, but that's a big reason why I think Bayley will win, is because so many people don't think she will.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those matches where you can see either of them winning because you can make a case for storylines outside of this, and I can't fault your reasoning because Bayley has carried the SmackDown Women's division on her back. I just think it's Sasha's time. I think
I
she
wouldn't
deserves.
be mad. I would not be
Yeah.
mad.
I certainly wouldn't be mad at a Bayley win. I just think Sasha deserves a run with the title, especially after all the kind of help with the character work that she's done over the last few months with Bayley, and it kind of it brings the storyline to an end, at least for now, if Sasha vanquishes Bayley for me.
Yeah, no, I can certainly see whatever. I just think the good thing about this is that I feel like what we've said, there's multiple options with so many different players and the kind of dynamics of what I think is a really, really good women's division on SmackDown, by the way. There's a really good group. I really do think that they've got a really good, diverse group of different kind of wrestlers, which is a good thing. So many different options, but nonetheless, regardless of result, this is guaranteed to be a good match. It's just like I said before, how damn good can this be? And we know what they can do. We really know, and it's not like they haven't got the story behind them. They've got all the story in the world behind them. So, I'll be watching. I won't be on my phone for this one, everybody. I'll be definitely watching with kind of eyes glued to the television and just seeing what they can do. All right, well, one more match to go through, the final Hell in a Cell match of the night. I don't know, it could either be the main event or it could be Sasha and Bayley. It would be one of these. Roman Reigns will be defending again against Jey Uso, which I didn't think would get more than one pay-per-view match out of this, but I'm not mad because they're doing some of the best TV work I've seen in a freaking long time from WWE in a storyline capacity, just straight up like out of the blue kind of story that just is just working on all cylinders, and I'm just like hooked. I'm so hooked. Let's talk about Clash of Champions, because when we went into this, we really didn't know what was going to happen, Mags. We didn't know if it was just going to be a Reigns squash. We didn't know if it was going to be kind of competitive. I definitely didn't think we were going to get what we got, which was a fantastic main event and a damn great like story-driven match, which you know how much I love. Oh, it's my favorite thing in wrestling. That was just fantastic stuff from both of them. Reigns is doing some of the best stuff I've ever seen, which I think he's truly done for a long time, but I think in this role and in this capacity, he's just shining. He's just so naturally great at what he's doing right now. He's not like a standard heel. I mean, he has heelish things with the kick out stuff with the bowls and stuff like that. That's a heel thing, but like he isn't like a standard cookie cutter like, oh, you guys all booed me and I hate you now, like, you know, get fucked. Like, that's not what he's doing really at all. He's just kind of like, I'm the best. I've been the best for a long time. Like it or love it, I don't really give a fuck, basically. And he's got Heyman and he's the tribal chief and everything that's going on. And then you've got Jey Uso, who, again, even 2 months ago, Mags would not be saying Jey Uso is going to main event another pay-per-view and go for the Universal Championship and be in, I don't know, I could be overselling this a little bit, but I think WWE's probably feud of the year, with maybe the exception of Sasha and Bayley. It's been one of the best things in the wrestling world, I guess. Most talked about things. It's just been damn good. Their segment on SmackDown this week was really good. They've had some really great segments. Both men just doing really good stuff. It's still weird to say Jey Uso is Jey Uso's is the number one contender for the Universal Championship, and again, we went into Clash of Champions not really knowing and going, oh, Jay's not going to win. Like, it's just Reigns all the way. Now, I guess the added consequence of this match is like obviously the Universal Championship. It's also an I Quit match inside of Hell in a Cell, which I really dig. It makes it different from the other 2 Hell in a Cells. When you have 3 Hell in a Cells in a night, let's try and make it different. And it kind of, I guess it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It's like, well, I'm going to make you say I quit, and I'm going to beat you inside of this big red cage. So let's kind of just, see what we can make out of that. But who knows? I don't think Jey Uso's going to win. I guess the added consequence, like I said, was he's out of the family, and all of his family members are out of the family or something like that.
His children and his children's children. Yeah.
Like, the wives and everything, they're gone. Yeah. Basically, Reigns is like, I'm cutting you off. We've all had family issues. We've all been there before, Don't you hate that when there's just family kind of turbulence going on? You're like, shit, I don't talk to that uncle anymore. It's like, oh, no. But Reigns is, I guess, the tribal chief. He's the leader in charge, I guess. So what he says goes, in his mind, at least in a storyline capacity. But we're hooked. We're all hooked on this story. Everybody is loving this for right reasons. It's very good. How do you feel about, I guess, this chapter post Clash of Champions, continuing this and everything else?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We've seen it's one of the best storylines WWE are doing. It's up there with the Sasha and Bayley storyline for me, and it came out of absolutely nowhere. Yep. Nobody expected this storyline, and who knew that the Roman Reigns heel turn that the WWE Universe has been clamoring for years would actually work. Because we are a fickle bunch, and normally we would, when we get what we want, we would then want something else. But yeah, it's working on every single level. I love the family aspect of the storyline, the way that Roman is doing what he's doing because he thinks it's right for the whole of the family, even right for Jey. He thinks what he's doing is for the best of Jey's family, to the point where he's telling Jey if he doesn't fall in line, his family are going to suffer because of it. It's just such great character work by everyone on board, and the way that Jey has really stepped up to the plate has been phenomenal. The way he's refused to bend the knee to Roman and kind of like stand up to the big dog. I've loved every single second of it. I can't look past a Roman win. Obviously, there's no kind of area of my mind where I think, can Jey win this? I don't think so. I think the issue is, how does Roman win this? Does Jey bend the knee? Does the family get exiled? Do we finally see the teased Samoan Dynasty 2.0 that we've been looking to have? I think we see
options.
I think we see Jey relenting. I think we see Jey bending the knee. I think we see arguably the best match between the two, and I think we see the start of a new Samoan Dynasty in the WWE. But we're going to have one great match here, I think.
Oh yeah, especially coming off of that match at Clash of Champions. I guess that now the difficult thing to do is that we know what they can do, and we know what they did at Clash of Champions, which has arguably been one of, storytelling wise, it's been the match of the year, but it's up there in consideration for one of the best matches of the year, at least for what I like anyway. But this one is going to be brutal. I think Roman's going to do a lot of beating the absolute piss out of Jey, and I think Jey's going to get some stuff in there too. We've seen at Clash of Champions there was multiple times where he got multiple near falls on Roman Reigns.
He stepped up. He from a tag team wrestler, he stepped up to look legitimate.
It's amazing. It's amazing what can happen when someone's given an opportunity, isn't it, Mags?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
and all from all from his brother being injured and being unable to compete that this storyline's happened, and he's really took the ball and ran with it. And good on him. Good on the. I love the Paul Heyman Roman Reigns dynamic. I think it works so well.
Too.
I love the slightly heel Roman. Like you said, he's not going, I hate you fans because you all turned on me. He thinks he's doing what is good for the family and the wreck everything and leave. I love it. I think
good for Roman. He's doing what's good for Roman. If that doesn't align with what people like, then he's like, too bad. I don't really care. I'm not going to tell you I hate you. But like, because I guess the easy thing to do in a wrestling world would be Roman can turn heel and I can tell you all of these fans booed me for all of these years and I didn't do anything wrong and now I'm going to tell you to go suck an egg. But they went with a different route that's just kind of like, Roman's not really that different to what he was doing. When you think about it, he's, you know, it's obviously there's different kind of aspects of it, but he's still kind of wrestling the same. He's still saying what he's always said. He's always said he's the guy. He's always said he's the best. He's just now kind of like, I'm just clearly I'm the face of this company. There's obviously more cockiness and stuff with it, but you brought up Paul Heyman and his dynamic. What I love most about Heyman and Reigns' dynamic is that it's so different to what Heyman is with Brock or what Heyman has been with other people. He's not Roman's speaker. He's not speaking for Roman. Clearly Roman's... No. He's a great talker. He doesn't need someone to speak for him, but he's just kind of there to add legitimacy to Roman and kind of be his kind of devil's advocate kind of thing. Like, hey, I'm over here if you need me. Even the way that Heyman is in matches, if I don't know if you pay any attention to Heyman on the outside, but when he's with Brock, you hear Heyman like, Brock, you know, he's kind of going crazy and he's kind of in the shot. With Reigns, he's kind of like almost taken a step back and he's kind of just like, I'm just over here. I'll react when I need to react, but like, I'm just kind of here to kind of watch Reigns do his thing. I like that dynamic. I kind of like how it's so different. And, you know, that's a risk, I guess you could take because people might be like, well, what's the point of Heyman being here? But like, it just, everything that Reigns is doing at the moment is just kind of turning to gold. And I know it takes two to tango and this isn't discrediting what Jay's done because he's done a great job, but like Roman has made Jay Uso look like $1 million. He's made him look like Reigns has made it look like there was a moment where we all were like, I know everyone was like, Jay's not going to win this, but like I was hooked. I was like, oh my God. Like when Jay hit that splash, I was like, that was so close to Jay winning the Universal Championship. That's on Roman to make him look like he was nearly going to win. It's like even to work us to be like, oh God, like that nearly got me. And I think we're going to have moments like that inside of Hell in a Cell. I know there's no near falls. It's an I Quit match, but we're going to have moments. It's going to be very brutal. I think it's going to be very physical. And I think that it's going to get uncomfortable at some stages with just how much Roman's going to beat up Jey Uso. But I'm very much here for it. Do you think this is going to be the main event, if you're honestly thinking?
I would like it to be Bayley and Sasha. I think that's the slow build story that everyone's got their teeth sunk into. But Roman Reigns is the face of the company. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I do think that this will go on last. And I think they deserve to go on last because it has been such a well-told story. Jey Uso, like you said, he's really looked like he deserved to be in there. I mean, when he first got the number one contender shot going into Clash of Champions, nobody gave him a chance. Not one of us said, "Oh, this is Jay's chance to be champion." We all thought, "What the hell is this?" Jey Uso, the tag team wrestler, is now the number one contender. But with the storyline build-up and with the performance he put on at Clash, he legitimised himself, and Roman did a brilliant job in making him look legitimate. Now, going into Hell in a Cell, it looks like it should be there, and it looks like a feud that deserves to be in Hell in a Cell, and that's a testament to how good Jay has stepped up to the plate,
Yeah.
but also how good Roman is at making his opponents look so
Oh.
good. I'm so invested in this storyline. I can't see a Jay win, but my God, the pop if he did. Oh.
The Thunderdome would come unglued. I'm very much here for the ride, and I'm very much just like watching. Again, these are the two matches I'm kind of with Bailey and Sasha, and then this one that I'm kind of heavily invested in, where I'll just be kind of watching and just kind of on the journey. That's the best bit about wrestling, is just making you kind of watch. You know, the other Hell in a Cell will be fine too, but you know, I'm just not as invested as these two. You know, I'm very into this Reigns and Uso stuff, and I don't think I don't know for certain, but I don't think WWE were planning to go more than one match with this until they actually had that match and were like, oh, we could easily do this more because this is very good. Yeah. And rightfully so. Like you said, they have very much not only they've just earned it. They've earned the opportunity to kind of do this. Both of them have done great work. Just everything about this is just very good. But we're both going Reigns just because it'd be silly of us to say Jay. But hey, I wouldn't be against just seeing it happen. Just to be like, whoa. And I think I'm a little bit more. I'm definitely not thinking he's going to win, but I think I'm a little bit more like, who, you know, where are we going with this? And kind of the story has been so good. It's just going to be a lot of fun. One more question before we go. If you were putting money down at a casino right now of what's going to steal the show, would it be Sasha and Bailey or would it be Reigns and Uso?
I think it's going to be Otis and Miz. That's going to be the banger of it. Absolutely not. It's the girl's going to knock this out of the park. I 100% guarantee that Sasha and Bailey are going to put on the performance of a lifetime. They did it with the first Iron Women's match. They're going to do it again today. This is the culmination of a 6-year storyline. There's no way these aren't going to want to steal the show. And if it is the end of this feud, at least for the time being, they're going to go out with an absolute bang. So yeah, I fully expect Sasha and Bailey to absolutely knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic, like I said before, I think it's going to be a great wrestling match inside of a Hell in a Cell. I don't really see, a Hell in a Cell will obviously be used, but you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be like the focal point as opposed to the other two, if that makes any sense. The way I kind of see it is, you know, like Triple H and Undertaker's Hell in a Cell, end of an era, that was a great match, a great story inside Hell in a Cell. It didn't necessarily use the Hell in a Cell all that much. You know what I mean? It was just kind of an accessory to kind of enhance the match. Is that fair of me to say? I feel like it was just a great story told inside of a Hell in a Cell. And I think that's what's going to happen with Sasha and Bailey, is that it's going to be a fantastic wrestling match that just happens to be in Hell in a Cell, as kind of just to kind of up the ante. But Reigns and Uso is going to be a great story that uses the Hell in a Cell to its advantage, in the sense of like, we're going to use this to see if I can get my opponent to say I quit. So to answer my own question, I think Sasha and Bailey will in terms of like wrestling, but I think they're going to be two very different matches, two very, very kinds of matches, and both different kinds of wrestling that we just adore. Story and then just fantastic wrestling. But who knows? Who really knows? It's going to be a lot of fun.
To go back to what we said at the beginning of this, the fact that there's only 5 matches on the card, hopefully that means that all the matches will be given the time to shine, and it's going to be, or it feels to me like it's going to be one of those kind of cards that hasn't been a lot of build in terms of buzz, but it's going to surprise you with how good the wrestling's going to be.
Yeah, and I think it can kind of rest on its laurels that it's got those 2 Hell in a Cell or 3 Hell in a Cells. I think it can kind of rest on that and be like, we can deliver something, and I think we've got enough here to just kind of put on whatever else in between, and you just kind of
less is more.
I agree. I'm fine if this stays a 5-match card, but probably by the time that I wake up and for Hell in a Cell, there'll be 14 matches on this card. But it's fine because I'm crazy and I'll still watch it all, including the kickoffs. So, whatever. But who knows? There's a long time in WWE land to get from now until the pay-per-view, even though there's only 9 hours. That's a long time for them. That they're probably up right now like, yep, we're going to add this match and we're going to put on this match. And there'll be segments in between.
Another pay-per-view in that time.
Yeah, none of these matches could take place by the time we get to they might all be canned, and we just don't know. But nonetheless, I'm probably more excited for this show than I was with Clash of Champions, just in the sense of like it's a little bit less predictable than Clash of Champions was. So I'm ready for it. This will be the last show for 4 or 5 weeks until Survivor Series is on. So
wow.
we'll be
long.
We'll be all red and blue by then. I don't know which.
Well, I'll be black and gold, hopefully.
Well, if hopefully NXT is involved again. I really hope so. Fingers crossed, but I'm not putting money on it. They're going to be involved again, to be completely fair. And if they are, they ain't winning again. They aren't.
Oh, whoa! We'll have less of that.
Well, they won't. Do you think that's going to happen at 2 years in a row? I don't think so. They'll probably get fucking clean sweeped and everyone will cry. So, I'm sure there's probably a takeover at some stage with Survivor Series, so we might do a double takeover Survivor Series show. Who really knows? Who really freaking knows?
It's Halloween Havoc on Wednesday, I think.
Oh yeah, Halloween Havoc's this week. This upcoming week. Spin the
Shotzi
wheel.
Blackheart presents Halloween Havoc.
Yes, we love Shotzi. Oh, well,
yes, we do.
Yeah,
we stand Shotzi.
Yeah, you like Shots. You're a big Shotzi person as well. That'll be fun. So everybody enjoy Hell in a Cell, of course. Then enjoy Halloween Havoc if you're going to be watching that. There's a couple of matches announced for that. I'm pretty sure there's 2 spin the wheel matches with the wrestlings, and then there's like Rhea and Raquel, and there's like some kind of House of Terrors match or something with Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes. Oh, it was so funny when he found out it was a House of Terror match. He's like, did you understand William Regal correctly? He's got one of those weird accents. Did he really say House of Terror?
Or whatever it is, yeah. Yeah, so Halloween Havoc's coming up this week as well. So, but I guess you won't hear the velvety tones of Mags's voice on my Twitch until Survivor Series. So,
oh, you lucky people.
Yeah, well, lucky for me too. I don't have to go and I take off these headphones, Mags. And my ears are just bleeding. I'm like, I can't do it.
He does an Ace Ventura like unclean and just in the shower just scrubbing.
Just like I got like a thing and I'm just like, ugh, get out of here, like, imagine having a tacky accent. I can't relate. But yes, Mags. What if you already plugged some shit before, uninvitedly plugged your own show before, but I guess you can plug your own shit now. He's got 47 podcasts, and I do have to say, I do have to bring something up, Mags. On one of your shows, I don't know which one it was, Tom, Dick, or Harry, take your pick out of the bag. It's like spin the wheel with Mags' podcast. Like, which one am I going to land on today? But I believe it was your football podcast, or as I say, soccer, because
football.
It's soccer.
We don't agree with the soccer talk.
It's you know, as you would when it's you and Tanner. Tanner was like, "Hey, where can we find you on Twitter?" Of course, she said at Josh Robertson 00. I'm paraphrasing, so you can correct me if you want to, but you said something along the lines of I left podcasting and now I went to Twitch and 2 people watched my Twitch streams. And I'll eventually come back to podcasting because I'll be,
with the tail between my legs, I said. I think I said with the my tail between...
Something along those lines. So, Mags, from the bottom of my heart, Fuck
Go
you.
fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck yourself. I don't know why I put an accent. I'm talking in my own voice, but
Just double down on the Australian accent.
I just did an Australian accent on top of an Australian accent. I don't even have an accent, so I don't even know what you're talking about. But yes, go listen to Mags's soccer podcast. It's super great. And then go and listen to his other 47 or 46 shows. It'll only take you all week. So just do that. But what do you want to promote, Mags? Which one do you want to promote today?
Okay. So follow me at Texas Gentleman _
Oh no. Poor Tanner.
because I'm an American from deep dark Texas, where I get a little bit too close to my sister, and I don't really know a lot about football, but I pretend to, and I'm a glory hunting Liverpool supporter.
Oh my god! Holy shit! It feels good not to be on the receiving end of that. I mean, you are on my Twitch stream.
How fun is it when I absolutely abuse someone who's not there? It's fun.
Yeah, it's actually great. I invite it. Just as long as it's not me, I'm happy. I'm good. No, I don't really give a fuck because I also talk shit about Mags because he's a piece of shit.
Oh wow! Just I do nothing to like encourage this hatred. Nothing.
Oh yeah, nothing at all. Nothing at all. I slept on that. I slept on that comment from you for ages. I was like, when can I pull this out? I'm like, I haven't been on Twitch in like a week and a half, so I'm gonna pull that out then and be like, fuck you, dude. But for your information, Mags, joke's on you because there's currently 5 people in here. So suck my farts. Suck on that.
I have absolutely no problem saying how proud I am of you. You could have easily rested on your laurels.
Here we fucking go. Mags is going to be nice, everybody.
I am going to be nice. I am a dick sometimes, and I can be very sarcastic, but I honestly am proud of you. I think you've took a massive leap of faith, and it's paying off dividends. You're doing content that you're really happy with and proud of, and I'm glad you're feeling fulfilled with your content.
Oh, bless Mags. Bless Mags. Now I just get people commenting on my YouTube about my sexuality, and I tell them to go kiss my ass.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. Fuck off, C word. I nearly said the C word then, but I didn't. But that was what I normally would say because I am from this country. And, well, we're literally on the bottom of the earth. So nobody really pays attention to us anyway. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this show. We will be back for Survivor Series. Like I said, Mags will be around the place, I'm sure. I'll be on Twitter posting my TikToks and talking about my cat. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. Mags has been on the screen this whole time. Mine's on the screen as well this whole time. So you should be following me at this point.
Why
if you're not, it's on you.
Why are you not following?
Really,
why are you not following? Follow now.
Yeah, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Follow me on fucking Twitter. We love you all. Thank you for hanging out. And go and enjoy Hell in a Cell. Go and enjoy whatever time it is. I'm going to bed after this because it's nearly 1 a.m.
And you're mad.
Yeah, it's nearly 1 a.m. And lucky I live alone. Otherwise, I'm sure I'd get complaints
forever alone.
Yeah.
Forever alone, Josh.
Yeah, I'm just going to be... Hey, no, we're actually... I should say that someone has been sitting behind us this whole time. Look at that, everyone. It's the thing they actually are here for. It's Giddy, not me. Because I'm realizing that cat is more over than I am.
And the cat don't love you.
No, she doesn't. She hates me. She actually...
She tolerates you.
She tolerates me because I feed her. But she's literally asleep. I can see that she's listening to me because her ears are going back, but she's not looking at me because, I guess, ill. So, everybody, enjoy Giddy. Enjoy Hell in a Cell. We'll see you very soon. I'll be back on Twitch streaming probably tomorrow. Who knows? I'll be around somewhere. See you, everyone.